India and Australia crack down on big tech as 5 Oregon counties vote to secede. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest measures that India is taking to stomp on big tech tyrants, how they've drawn inspiration from Australia's recent showdown with Facebook, and how a number of counties in Oregon are looking towards secession to find their own sense of freedom from the dictatorial whims of left-wing tyrants. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you as always. We've got some alt-tech links down below for you. If you're a Rumble fan, make sure to click on that link below to subscribe to our new Rumble channel and help us to get to 100,000 subscribers there. We'd love to have you over there. And for you Parler fans, make sure to click on the link below and subscribe to my Parler channel. And let's together support the return of this wonderful alt-tech site. Now, before we dive into things here, let's give you a shout out to our sponsor, and that's Tougher Joints. Yeah, for all of us who are starting to feel our age here, we may assume that joint pain is something to be accepted as we get older, but you know what? It doesn't have to be, and that's why I highly recommend Tougher Joints. Tougher Joints has the science-backed ingredients your body needs to solve joint pain by restoring, protecting, and lubricating your joints, right? What's not to love? So make sure to click on that link below. And as a special incentive, get this, you're going to get Tougher Joints at 51% off. So do not wait. This is a limited time offer. Click on that link below, or you can also visit the website, thetougherjoints.com. That's tougherjoints.com. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. The nation of India, led by the Nationalist Populist Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, they have announced new rules that are definitively cracking down on big tech. Now, the new orders are in response to Twitter's defiance against the Modi government's direct order to block several hundred Twitter accounts that were critical of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but particularly in terms of his handling of the farmers' protests that have broken out in the nation. Now, interestingly, Twitter had originally complied with the Modi government's order. They blocked about 250 accounts belonging to left-wing activists, political commentators, and the like. But then Twitter, I kid you not, in the name of free speech, unblocked them, right? Jack Dorsey, Mr. Cancel Culture himself, unblocked these accounts in the name of free speech, okay? So the Modi government said, fine, we'll do this the hard way. Keep in mind, the Modi government is not happy at all with what Twitter did to President Trump in deleting his account. There's been a massive backlash brewing against the Twitter ban of Trump from within the Indian parliament and the BJP party in particular. Now, of course, ironically, the Modi government is complaining that these Twitter accounts are spreading disinformation. And here's the key: as they spread that disinformation, that may lead to violence within our nation. So they need to be shut down. You know, Jack Dorsey, like what you're doing to conservative accounts in the U.S., uprising and all. So just apply the same standard here. Now, of course, they didn't say that part of it, but here's the real kicker. They took on Twitter's defense of free speech, okay? This is the BJP party, which, of course, we all know is utterly and patent nonsense, all right, given what they've been doing to President Trump and countless other patriots and conservative content creators. India pushed back on Twitter's free speech argument by saying that no international company, no foreign company has the constitutional, statutory, legal basis whatsoever to interpret what constituted free speech under Indian laws. India, the sovereign nation of India, will decide what was not free speech, not Twitter. Our nation will not have Silicon Valley define what is or what is not free speech. And again, they could have added, especially when you are so blatantly selective and hypocritical when it comes to the freedom of speech in your own nation, the United States. And so now a new term is emerging in the fight against big tech. You ready for this? They're calling it digital colonialism. How's that for a perfect phrase, right? The Modi government is pushing back against what they're calling digital colonialism, the power of big tech to enforce Silicon Valley political correctness on populations all over the world, irrespective and often in defiance of their laws and their national sovereignties. And that's what Modi and the BJP are doing here. According to Reuters, the Indian government said that the guidelines in its code of digital media ethics were needed to hold social media and other companies accountable for misuse and abuse. So, for example, social media companies will now have a maximum of 36 hours to remove content after they receive a government or legal order, or else face immediate repercussions. Again, fundamentally, according to the Modi government, it's all about holding big tech oligarchs accountable to national laws and standards. The nation of India it's the nation of India that will determine the norms by which big tech has to abide by, not the other way around. Now, this is but the latest in the increasing international backlash against big tech. Just hours prior to this video, the nation of Australia officially passed a landmark law effectively forcing tech giants to pay for news content that they use in order to attract paying advertisers. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Australian Parliament backed down or capitulated to Google and Facebook, who are, of course, dead set against this bill. I mean, after all, why should these oligarchs have to pay for news coverage that they exploit for their own profit margins? I mean, how dare you? But many believe that in response to Facebook's banning of Australian news in retaliation to the bill, Australian lawmakers capitulated, they backed down. But what this perspective misses is that while it is certainly true the Australian lawmakers did make some concessions, nevertheless, the cat's out of the bag, right? The horse is out of the barn, as it were. The government of India and a number of other governments around the world have already said they're going to use the Australian Parliament showdown with big tech as a template for their own showdowns, which promise to get more and more strict, as we're seeing with India's new provisions, right? The important role that Australia played in all of this is they let the genie out of the bottle. I don't know how many more metaphors I can come up with here. They let the horse out of the barn. Now, international governments can indeed start taking on the big tech oligarchs and live to tell about it. That's the key to what Australia did. Courage is courageous, right? Courage is courageous, and Australia has set the precedent for other nations like India and Hungary and Poland and Russia to start taking on big tech and get these oligarchs to relinquish their digital colonialism. Now, speaking of colonialism, we've got a fascinating development going on here in the United States, with a number of counties voting to free themselves from the monopolistic rule of municipalities. Before we dive into that, I do want to give you a free gift. Make sure to click on that link below and download your very own fake news antidote. We've updated our compilation to over 30 alternative news sites I go to for my news each and every single day. They're all conservative. They all celebrate Trump and the nationalist populist revolt going on all over the world. And boy, do we need these news resources now more than ever. You can download your own copy of our updated fake news antidote completely free at the link down below in the pinned comment section. And that way you're going to have a ready list of your go-to sites that you'll definitely enjoy each and every day. It's going to inspire you through these trying times. It's yours absolutely free by clicking on the link below. It is my gift to you. All right, so we've got some fascinating developments on the secession front. The Washington Times is reporting that 5 counties in the state of Oregon will ask voters in the next election whether they want to detach from the deep blue state and join neighboring red state, Idaho. Oregon, of course, has been plagued with violence and social degeneration with the ongoing Antifa riots in Portland that we recently talked to the on-the-ground conservative reporter Andy Ngo about in our Insiders Club. The state of Oregon has been, as a result of the electoral influence of Portland and its wider leftist municipality, the state as a whole has been totally adversely affected. And so an organization called Move Oregon's Border, which is also known as Greater Idaho, they've confirmed that the initiative to move swaths of largely rural eastern and southern Oregon into Idaho did indeed qualify for the May 18th special election ballot in a total of 5 counties: Baker, Grant, Lake, Malheur, Sherman counties. All 5 of these counties, they're going to be voting as to whether to leave Oregon and join up with what they're calling Greater Idaho. It's how Mike McCarter, the president of Move Oregon's Border, is putting it. Oregon is a powder keg because counties that belong in a red state like Idaho are ruled by Portlanders. This state protects Antifa arsonists, not normal Oregonians. It prioritizes one race over another when it comes to vaccines. And it prioritizes Willamette Valley above rural Oregon. And so more and more rural Oregonians have had just enough and they want out. And so as we've been reporting in a number of videos, the secessionist tendencies that have been heating up over the last several years, not just here in the United States, but indeed around the world, are reaching new heights and now getting on ballots, as in the case of Oregon, or getting bills sponsored in the case of Texas, right? Daniel Miller, the president of the Texas Nationalist Movement, he pointed out to our Insiders Club the groundbreaking development, Texas State Representative Kyle Biederman, who filed a bill that would allow Texans to vote on Texas independence. And what this bill is doing is it's forcing Texas lawmakers to vote as to whether to allow the citizens of Texas to decide if they want to exit the union or if their permanent political class is going to make that decision for them. So these are both huge developments, the Texas bill and the Texas legislature and the 5 referendums in Oregon. These are huge developments, along with the measures in India and Australia, which are all trying to push back against big tech tyrants in a common quest among more and more populations seeking to restore a sense of freedom and liberty and political integrity in their lives and in their communities. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it. It's on how the rhino par excellence, Liz Cheney, absolutely embarrasses herself yet again, proving she has no future in the GOP. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.